Hello out there, Katrina Carroll Lewis here, and I'm delighted to welcome you to this week's edition of Hope from Home. Today's monologue was penned by local playwright Chandler Hubbard, who recently received the American Theater Critics Association Steinberg New Play Award for his play Animal Control, produced at Firehouse Theater last year. Today's piece is performed by the delightful and wonderful Javi Nguyen, who I had the pleasure of working with recently in Virginia Rep's production of Cinderella. She played Gabrielle, the stepsister with a heart, via the partnership between Virginia Rep and Theater VCU. Today you'll see Javi play a young woman whose ambitions have been put on hold as she moves home from New York City to shelter in place in Richmond with her mother, the Iron Lady. As she struggles to rejoin the family rhythms and routine, she finds connection and comfort where she least expects it. If you are able to support this initiative and the other ways in which Virginia Rep is striving to fulfill its mission during this time, please follow the link to donate. I hope you enjoy the monologue.
This town is too small. I can't take a walk in Richmond without tripping over an ex-boyfriend. Don't step on a crack or you'll break your mother's back. See Sean coming out of Sugar Shack. My stone-cold mom warned me that I wouldn't make it in New York and that I'd come crawling back to her, but for once, she was wrong. I waited tables and I messed up auditions and I dated boys whose families didn't live across the street, and the world was big. And then February happened and it turned into don't step on a crack or you'll run into somebody who's breaking the shelter-in-place mandate, and the world became small again. My mom sent me a text saying, "Come home or you'll regret it." So I went crawling back home to her, and I guess she was right as usual, and now I'm living here in her basement like one of those World of Warcraft playing losers like Sean or like Alex or like Daniel. Maybe I have a type. Anyway, every morning I wake up and I walk upstairs to a laundry list of things to do, including literally the laundry. From exactly 9:15 to 12:45 sharp, I help tidy the house. I'd be able to break from 12:45 to 1:15, and then I'm back to raking the leaves or walking the dog. And then at 5 p.m. sharp, I help the Iron Lady cook dinner. And every time I stare off into space or look at my phone, she just says, just because we're stuck at home doesn't mean we get to slack off, or idle hands are the devil's playground. And I just wish I could just hang out on a playground, you know? Just so I can breathe anywhere she's not hovering. Anyway, the last item on the daily agenda is to watch the 8 p.m. news with her. She's old school, none of that 24-hour news cycle stuff, strictly forbidden. Too many stimuli messes with your brain, she'd say, or when the world's so big, it's impossible to manage. The 8 p.m. news is 1 hour with commercials, so they keep it succinct. They don't go crazy with speculation, and they just make it all seem a little smaller, a little bit more manageable. So me and my mom are together, me with my stomach all squeezed up, and the Iron Lady with her usual tight pursed lips, and the news anchor inevitably brings up the death rate in New York or extending quarantines. And every time my mom sees the lip quiver out of the corner of her eyes, she just tries to latch on so tight, and I try to shake her off like, "Mom, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm keeping it cool, I already popped a Xanax." But she never lets go until 9 p.m. sharp, when she finally relinquishes my hand and lets me go back to the basement dungeon from whence I came. Sometimes during my daily chores, I sneak a peek on my phone just to see how fast this thing is spreading, or how many ER doctors are committing suicide from all the stress. I always get all red in the face, and then the edges of my vision begin to blur, and then my mom immediately knows that I didn't wait until 8 p.m. news to watch with her, and she'll always go, "The world's too big, you'll drive yourself insane." Then she'd hand me a sponge or a mop, anything that isn't reading statistics, but I'm weak. I keep cheating behind her back, looking up whatever the president was saying that day, and she can always tell. But I'm not like her. I can't keep it locked away inside. When you feel something, you just gotta feel it, you know? So she started changing the Wi-Fi password until 9:01 sharp so that I'd be forced to wait and watch with her, which, like, does she not understand that that just makes my anxiety worse? But then one night I fell asleep on the couch during the news and I woke up to this pain in my hand. My mom was still sitting next to me, one hand still holding mine, and the reporter on the TV was talking about how New York City has had to store bodies in unrefrigerated U-Hauls because no one's allowed outside for funerals for their loved ones. My stone-cold mother was staring at the screen, eyes locked onto reporter's eyes, and her free hand was clutching some invisible pearls as if she was trying to hold back a wave in her chest that was ready to crest. I wanted to say something, but I knew she didn't want to be seen like that, so I just fake slept and let her squeeze my hand tight and feel what she needed to feel. She woke me up at 9:01 sharp, and she didn't say anything. She just got up, turned the Wi-Fi on, and walked away. Then I went down to the basement, and then the next night when we sat down and turned on the TV, I reached over and held her hand. We didn't say anything. We just sat there together, making the world a little smaller, just for a little while.